Traveler, and welcome to the Dining Traveler Cooking Series, where we try dishes from our favorite destinations at home. And this time I'm in Den Bosch in Holland at Almi's home. She's a fellow Boricua, has been living in Holland for over 15 years, and she's going to teach us how to make
Sorullitos. This is a recipe from my auntie, and they are delicious cheese and cornmeal fritters. So we're going to be frying today. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you. And while we cook, we're also going to learn a little bit about your experience living here, being a Latina in Europe.
Yes.
You know, you don't really hear about us, so I'm super excited to be sharing your story. So, vamos por encima. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, what are the first steps?
Well, the first steps are going to be to add water, butter. The butter is 1 tablespoon of butter. It's very important to know. 2 teaspoons of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. And now we're going to mix all of this and wait until this is dissolved. You're going to add the cornmeal to this, and you're going to start mixing, stirring like crazy. So now we're going to add the cornmeal, and at this point you want to stir. If it's a little bit angry, meaning a lot of bubbles, you can always take it off the heat, place it on the heat, and just make sure that everything is well combined. Now the mix is really nice and strong and everything is incorporated. Now we're going to add 1 cup of Parmesan cheese. Some people use queso de bola, which is how we call in Puerto Rico cheddar cheese. You can use Parmesan cheese, you can use a mix of Parmesan and mozzarella cheese. If you do use mozzarella cheese, add a little bit more of salt because mozzarella cheese tends to be mild in flavor. But we're going to be using 100% of Parmesan cheese. It's salty enough, so you don't need that much salt. Okay, so we'll be adding the cheese and mixing until the cheese is well incorporated. You see that your dough is done when it starts coming out of the side and forming a nice ball. Put it in our plate to rest and cool down for 5 to 10 minutes. This is something that I make for my son frequently, just like my grandmother made for me when I was like 5-6 years old. And this mixture also, you can make it without the cheese. Just will add a little bit more sugar to the mix, and then you make little little discs, cookie shaped thing, and then you fry them, and those are named tortitas.
And what I like about this recipe too, in some of the recipes that we're going to make in this series, is that living abroad sometimes is so difficult, or it's not that it's impossible to find ingredients either in Holland or in Belgium, because we do have a big African population in both countries. Yes. So they have a lot of supermarkets, but I find myself going to one supermarket to another market, which this is nice because this is stuff that you can find at the normal supermarket and not have to go on this shopping excursion to make something that tastes like home.
Yes, exactly. And here in the Netherlands, you can go to any tokos. We call tokos usually like the Asian stores, and there they have all of the ingredients that we also use in Puerto Rican cuisine. We have a really great community here of Puerto Ricans in the Netherlands, and we have made many parties where we make just a lot of food.
Yeah, so much fun.
And it just smells like home. It's just like coming to one of the houses. It's just like coming back home to your mom's house in the middle of in December, smelling lechon and pernil and.
So now we're gonna make the mayo ketchup, que rico.
Yes, we're gonna make the dipping sauce, the mayo ketchup. Here I have ketchup. This is about what, like
2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons, something like that, give and take. I like my mayo ketchup a little bit on the lighter side.
Okay.
And I'm going to be adding some mayo. This is not sponsored, but I prefer Hellmann's.
Okay.
I mean, I don't care what the Dutch people say.
Because what brand do they use? Calde? No.
They have Calde and they have other brands here, but it's just not the same.
No,
the taste.
It's like a taste of home.
Taste home. Yeah, exactly. I just added about 3 tablespoons. This is like ojo por ciento, like we say in Puerto Rico, like eye percentage. And I'm going to be adding maybe a teaspoon of the sriracha sauce.
Which is funny because I'm the other way around. I rather have more ketchup than mayonnaise.
Yeah.
And actually, I learned how to eat mayonnaise here in
Really?
Belgium. Yeah, because obviously they dip it with the fries and it was something like this. I don't know, like something about the consistency. Like I was just never like a big fan of it. But it's such a big part of food here in the culture. And
Yes.
and the tienen que acostumbrar, you have to get used to it.
Exactly, you have to get used
And now
to
I
it.
like it.
Especially this brand, it just reminds me of good times
Yeah.
and like ensalada de papa, like the potato salad.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, when it comes to the potato salad, I'm team apple all the time. I know that people hate it.
I
but-
like it too. I'm like, critíquenme si quieren.
Yes, exactly.
So far.
So put it, whatever. So now I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. If you want to use fresh garlic, you can use fresh garlic. Garlic powder is also good.
You know what I find? I like garlic powder better, just because I feel like those little chunks of fresh garlic.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might be into that, but I think it's just like a little bit too much for me.
Yes. I'm going to be mixing. Mix. The mix has been cooling for around 10 minutes, and you know that it's good and it's done when it's not sticking. It's like a really yummy Play-Doh.
For me.
Hands are washed and everything. Don't worry.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
It's not a restaurant. We don't have to wear gloves.
Exactly. So what you want to do is, first what I do is I do a ball, more or less, and then I shape the cigar like this. And just starting, you just press and give. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's homemade. Homemade
Yes.
needs to be.
It has to have the little flaws.
Yes, exactly. It needs to be a little bit rugged. It needs to be. That's how you show your love.
Yeah.
Actually. So something like this.
So for you, you've been living in Holland now for 15 years, like we said before.
Mm-hmm.
And what for you has been the most challenging part, aside from being away from home?
In the beginning, it's very rough when you come to, it's an uncharted territory for you. So you need to start from zero, and especially in a place where no one speaks your language, everything you have to enter with a beginner's mind.
Yeah.
And you feel like a 5-year-old. So you cannot do your basic things. You cannot call, to make an appointment, or you feel lost.
Yeah.
And it's a part that it's very difficult, but I encourage every immigrant or expat just to go little by little and start with baby steps, start with a beginner's mind, and little by little you're going to gain ground in your new host country.
I also find that Dutch culture is so, compared to Puerto Rican, and Martin and I always joke around about this, is very pragmatic, very practical, and Puerto Ricans, we can be very guided by emotions, and that can be challenging too, right?
Yes. So I'm a Rotterdamer in heart and soul, Puerto Rican obviously, but here I'm Rotterdamer. And now since the past 4 years, I have been living here in the South. And here in the South, the culture is very different.
Yeah.
It's more, they're more open. They love their food. So when it comes to that, the people that live in the south of the Netherlands, they're just a little bit Latino. So I like that vibe here in the
sazón.
Yes. Now I have the oil in medium-high heat. A little trick and tip, and I know that you know this, but for the people who are watching that don't know, I'm gonna pinch a little bit of the dough of the mix, and we're going to check the temperature. If the temperature is good, if you start seeing rapid bubbles like this, it's good. If it's like not that many bubbles, it's too low. It needs to come to a higher temperature. And if it's like really bad bubbles and jumping out, it's too hot.
Yes.
Turn it down. Okay, so we're going to start frying the Sorullitos. This is, by the way, sunflower oil, but you can use any neutral oil. Is good. And what we want to do is to warm them up and get them to a golden brown color.
I just love that that sense of pride, de fritura, it still reminds me of home. So it's like that perfect,
I know.
that sense of home.
This is a recipe from my auntie, like I said at the beginning of the video. She sadly passed away a few years ago in a terrible accident. But she had her YouTube channel back in the day, like in 2011, 2010.
She's an OG.
I know. And all of the family recipes are there, and this is part of the family recipe. So it's a great legacy that I have, and I'll go back and check it frequently. And this is kind of like my way of honoring her memory. I know, I miss her.
And I really appreciate you doing that. And you know, I think that there's something about us making recipes from the people in our family. As you know, my mom passed away, so there's just something so comforting to have those flavors at home, you know, when those that we're close to are no longer with us.
Yes, and it connects us to them.
I believe that too.
Yeah, just through cooking, it's just a connecting agent.
Yes.
And we feel them closer.
So how many minutes does it take to cook the Sorullitos?
About 2 to 3 minutes on each side. You want to make sure that they are golden brown, and you want also to make sure not to crowd the pan, the oil, because it will bring the temperature low, and then that will create soggy Sorullitos, and no one likes.
Nobody likes the soggy Sorullitos.
No one likes the soggy Sorulito. Don't think dirty stuff. So it needs to be crunchy. Yes.
So now to the fun part, 2 taste tests, and they smell delicious. And thank you so much for sharing your aunt's recipe with us. And not only that, but also sharing your story of living here in Holland. So let me get one here. It'll do a little dipping.
Now,
Sorullito toast.
Proost.
Proost. That's cheers in Dutch. Loca.
The crunch.
Es porque lo hiciste, pero está bien bueno.
Thank you.
It's very good.
It's very good.
No, I'm trying to hype you up. It's for real.
Puerto Rico. Thank you, Titi.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or feedback, please share in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Adios.
Adios.
Do it.